reversing car.
Blind.
The blind.
Sorry,
She wants
Deputy
that blind
Cookie.
open.
The blind open. Is that?
Yeah,
I was going for like Baby Bird.
Yeah. I know, but it was the consistency with it that made it sound like a reversing car.
Wow, who knew I was so versatile in my sounds?
You are. Guys, we are back with another breakdown. Today we are breaking down Robin.
Oh, thank you.
Robin.
Okay, so Robin, guys, look. Robin has been a hard one for us to fully fathom.
Yeah.
And we are going to attempt to fathom it here today with you guys.
Yeah.
I think that we know a lot of people that really love this song. It's got a very special meaning to some people, I think, and we're going to try to fully flesh that out today and understand it, because I think for me it's kind of felt a bit random on this album. But in saying that, like, Taylor does have songs like this on other albums, but this one in particular, I'm just like, I'm trying to just, and it's not always
available.
Yeah.
Look, I think that to explain where we're at with this, you know, there's been a couple of breakdowns we've done recently, for example, like the Black Dog and the Albatross, where we've sort of said, you know, we haven't fully fathomed this song yet, but like, let's get into it kind of thing. Or like, you know, this isn't one of our favorites, but like, it's still an offensive song kind of thing, you know? This is probably the only song on the album that I just don't feel that way about. I don't understand why it's here. I don't even really understand what she's saying. What we understand is that it's clearly written like for a child and is speaking to, I think, a child's, I don't know, imagination or whatever. That's sort of what I sort of take from it. I think, fathomed when we reacted to it that Aaron Dessner has a son called Robin, so we feel that this song is probably written for Robin, Aaron's son, which is really cute and beautiful.
It is.
But I don't understand this song, and I don't even feel like I can put it into the same category as some of those other songs that Taylor has written about children and childhood, like Never Grow Up or The Best Day, because those songs are just so clear to me, like what she's trying to say. I think, you know, a song like Never Grow Up, it's so nostalgic and it deals with her own, you know, having to grow up and moving into a new apartment and stuff, and she ties in that child imagery with her own life and stuff. But this song, I just don't get it. I'm so sorry. I don't get it. I don't know what she's trying to say.
Yeah. I think that what I get from this song is that Taylor is explaining how adults interact with children as they grow and how they protect them in order for their innocence and their creativity and their energy to thrive. I think Taylor highlights throughout this song all the ways in which this child is different or handles situations differently to how an adult would because of that innocence, and how throughout this song she's explaining that we as your family, as the adults in your life, will protect you from the harsh realities of the world.
Yeah, I think that you're right, and I think that's really beautiful.
It's quite beautiful. Yeah. I think that sonically it's a very slow song. It does feel like a bit of a lullaby in a way. Like,
it does. That's true.
It's a song that I feel like I listen to when it doesn't need to be my sole focus. We did reach out to one of our friends, Miki, who, if you're on our Patreon Discord, you will know her. And she loves Robin. And she has explained to us why she loves it. And we wanted to read it here before we got into this video so that we could maybe fathom another perspective.
Yeah, I think that she's also kind of explained to us what she thinks the song is as well, which we haven't actually read what she's got to say yet. But we really wanted to put her context into this because we needed a Stan's opinion in this video, because neither of us fall into that category. And we felt like it was important for you guys to feel represented if you do love this song.
Exactly.
So let's have a read and see what Mika has to say.
Yeah.
Robin is the penultimate song on the album. So following the overall narrative of the album, Taylor was working through this intense pain and crushing heartbreak. And this song puts all that into perspective in a very nuanced way when I listen to this song. I understand it as her observing Aaron's son Robin, or any child called Robin. It could even be a version of herself as a child. It doesn't really matter. and his innocence and how blissfully clueless he is about life as a small child, which is kind of what you said. I like how she's kind of wrapped in the fact that she's struggling with such a heartbreak and feeling damaged by what the world has to offer. Like, you can sort of see a child's innocence and really see that naivety as such a positive thing. She mentions all these details about his imaginations while he's just playing and making up silly scenarios, like pretending to be a tiger who roars loudly and reigns over dinosaurs. He dreams of dragonflies he has above his bed instead of dreaming of regrets like she does. Being covered in mud, acting ridiculous, etc. And I think what she's trying to convey throughout the whole song is that, especially after all this pain she's been through, she's yearning for this childhood bliss of ignorance where things were still simple without having a single care in the world.
And I guess that's where I was saying, like, the family protects him, or that the adults protect him, which allow him to just be completely free of these burdens of life, of these worries of life. And she, who is currently burdened by this heartbreak, would look at that situation and yearn for that simpleness. Yeah,
I totally get that. I think this is already helping me understand why this song is actually on this album as a whole. Given as a child you're so brave, you put your all into things without giving it a second thought. You're so pure and full of curiosity and joy for life because you don't know about the hardships yet. So she and his parents, I guess, all vowed to keep it from him in sweetness so that he can stay like this as long as possible before the challenges of life as an adult will get to him. She wants to preserve this state of being for Robin because she knows that one day he'll have painful experiences that will make him long for this time too, and he won't be able to go back. It's very similar to Never Grow Up in this sense. This song is basically Seven and Never Grow Up in my mind.
Interesting.
She said, the whole song makes me so unwell, but you'll learn to bounce back just like your trampoline actually kills me because Taylor had to do that so many times. It's just a lot that she's observing a happy child living his silly little life, and it makes her think of all the pain he'll have to endure in his life because his childhood won't last forever.
Wow.
That's beautiful. I really do understand a little bit better, even just reading that, how this song maybe it actually does tie into her mindset at the time. This album as a whole does deal with obviously some of the most brutal pain she's ever been through in her whole life. I mean, it's the only album that you could even remotely compare to one like Red. So I think that it makes sense for her to sort of want to reflect on what that childhood innocence is. And I'm definitely going to take all of that with me as we listen to this song and view every lyric through that lens.
Absolutely.
Long may you reign, you're an animal, you are bloodthirsty, out window panes, talking utter nonsense, you have no
Long may you reign, you're an animal, you are bloodthirsty, I think is just referring to his childlike nature of being hungry and adventurous and playful. The reigning is interesting as well because I guess in the next verse she talks about the dinosaurs and how he's like looking after them. So it's like maybe he's just his own world, like he reigns his own world.
Yeah, I kind of get this idea that it's like he's like kind of playing make-believe, or like he's playing this character. Like, you know, long may you reign, like you're kind of like the king of your own little world there. Like, and you're an animal, you're bloodthirsty. Maybe you're pretending to be a tiger or a lion or something like that. It doesn't matter. And she's like, it's interesting because the way that she's saying it, it's like really affirming. Like, you are this thing that you imagine yourself to be in your head. It's not like, oh, you're pretending to be an animal. It's like, no, you are an animal. Like, which is nice, I think, to kind of imagine receiving that kind of validation as a child.
Yeah, that's true. This lyric sparks the beginning of the narrator speaking to a younger version of themselves. In this line, the narrator requests that the younger version of who they may have once been reign for as long as possible.
That is actually interesting, and I do want to keep in the back of my mind this potential concept of it being like talking to a childlike version of herself, like her inner child in a way. Because if I'm gonna take that to be what she's saying for a second, I think that the Long May You Reign kind of ties in really well with all this fairy tale imagery on an album like Fearless, kind of like going back to her roots, this childlike version of herself. And even like you're an animal, you're bloodthirsty, like you are driven, you have this desire to achieve your dreams, you know, like I don't want that spark to leave you. It's kind of gotten you or me where I am today.
I like that. I think I would have a different relationship with this song if I viewed it through talking to her younger self.
Well, you know, even the next lyric, out window panes, talking utter nonsense, you have no idea. I think it's interesting with the window panes, like looking out the window or throwing rocks on the window or whatever. This is imagery that comes up quite a bit in her first albums.
What is a pane? P-A-N-E.
I mean, how does one explain a window pane?
A single sheet of glass in a window or door.
Of course, yes.
Even just like talking utter nonsense, you have no idea. It's like, you know, you're saying all these things about what you want your future to look like, or like, you know, how everything's going to go the way you planned or whatever. It's like, you have no idea what you're in for. Like, we know the pain that Taylor's experienced over the course of her entire career, not just in this album, but everything that's sort of come before.
Yeah, they're just looking out the window, talking utter nonsense in their make-believe world, in their fairy tale land.
Yep.
You have no idea. Like, you have no idea what you're talking about. You have no idea what's really going on.
You have no idea what the world's going to throw at you.
Yeah.
It is really nice to think about it talking to her younger self. But it works either way. You know, saying all of this to a young child too, it's like, you have no idea, and that's the beauty of you as a child. You are so naive. The world has not hurt you yet. And it really is so similar to what she's saying in Never Grow Up.
Yeah.
Wait, what is that lyric in Never Grow Up?
Oh,
the
won't let nobody
chorus.
hurt you, won't let no one break your heart, and no one will desert you. Yeah.
Just try to never grow up. Yeah, these are all the things that will happen as you grow up. It's inevitable. So if you stay a child, it's never going to happen to you.
Strings tied to levers, slowed down clocks, tethered, all this showmanship to keep it for you in sweetness. Way to go, tiger. Higher and higher, wilder and lighter for you.
I've got a little pre-chorus there. Strings tied to levers, slowed down clocks, tethered. All this showmanship to keep it for you in sweetness.
I mean, I think that the first couple of lines are just sort of like, we'll try and slow down time, or, I mean, that's what I kind of, especially slow down clocks tethered. Like, it's sort of just like, you know,
We're trying to not let you
I'd
grow
give
up.
all I have, honey.
Yeah.
If you could stay like that,
It
just
is.
stay
It's giving Never Grow Up.
childlike.
Using the imagery referencing childhood, this line could refer to when parents tie a string to a doorknob or a lever to help a child with a loose tooth.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe the child still believes in the tooth fairy.
Yep. I like that. I like that. And there's lyrics later on that sort of allude to keeping secrets and stuff. And I think at first I kind of took it as maybe like a negative thing, like, oh, you know, let's shelter you from like your parents' divorce or something like that. But I think that those secrets like Santa Claus and you know, the tooth fairy, things like that, I think that they're really innocent lies that we tell children that kind of makes childhood magical. And they get to just really bask in it in a way that adults just don't get to do that. And I think that's really nice.
Is describing the lengths that they go to preserve the innocence of the subject.
All this showmanship to keep it for you in sweetness. So the showmanship must be like the adult sort of putting in that
Orchestrating,
effort. Orchestrating the magic of childhood.
Absolutely.
To keep it for you in sweetness.
To keep it safe for you, to keep it light for you, to keep it all the things that she kind of goes on to say in the chorus. I mean, the few things she says in the chorus. Higher and higher, wilder and lighter.
Yeah.
For you. She's kind of actually continuing that message into the chorus.
Yes, it does feel like one continuation.
We do all of this to build you up. Way to go, Tiger. Like,
exactly. We want the best for you. We want to see you grow and shine.
Long may you roar at your dinosaurs. You're a just ruler, covered in mud,
really is a similar structure to the first and really kind of saying the same thing in a different way. This kid seems to now be playing with their dinosaurs covered in mud, really not caring about how they look, how they're perceived. There's just no awareness to that. It's just all about being in the moment, playing, something that we completely lose as we become adults. It's just all of a sudden we're so aware of how we're meant to be behaving and acting,
just
and being
self-conscious, and like those social expectations, I guess, come into the forefront of your mind instead of just letting your imagination run wild. But yeah, she is really just in a different way saying the same thing as the first verse. Long may you roar at your dinosaurs, you're a just ruler. Covered in mud, you look ridiculous and you have no idea. And that really is just the beauty of childhood. It's like you actually just... You don't know how ridiculous you look. It's actually not on your mind at all to even the concept of looking ridiculous. You're just like, I'm just doing my thing. I'm having fun. And that is something to be envious of in children, I think, when you're an adult. Because you just know, I mean, there is no way to ever get that kind of innocence back or just that carefree attitude.
Teenage years is so horrifying, really, because that's the time that we start to become aware of that. Seeing that happen in a child is also deeply horrifying.
It's so true. Maybe that's why the teenage years are specifically bad, because for the first time in your life, you realize that there's all these things you have done or are currently doing that, because you never noticed them before, you kind of perceive it as a little bit more embarrassing that you did it in the first place. Oh my God, like, why am I doing that? Why was I not thinking about how this person would think about me or whatever?
Yes, and you're just so hyper aware of how you're being perceived and trying to fit in and trying to be cool.
Overcompensate and you become too self-conscious because all of a sudden there are social rules to sort of
and when you become an adult, you can kind of start regulating that again, or you're aware, but you can kind of be like, I don't care that much, and it's actually not the end of the world if I don't fit in, and those things. But being those first turning points of a teenager is really quite a scary time.
Yeah, so true.
For anyone involved, I think. I do fear for the parents as well.
Has anybody ever felt like their teenage years are deeply slaying? Like, I don't know if anyone looks back on being a teenager and is like, I'd love to be that again.
And I feel like the parents also don't feel that way. Like, they're looking at the kids like this and like, oh. No one looks at a teenager like that with envy.
Oh, no.
Buried down deep and out of your reach, the secret we all vowed to keep it from you in sweetness. Way to go, tiger.
This pre-chorus is what really kind of stumps me, and I think especially on first listen really threw me off as to what she's trying to say. Buried down deep and out of your reach, the secret we all vowed to keep it from you in sweetness. As I said before, I think that a secret can be something that's quite innocent, like keeping Santa Claus as, not being a real thing from your child or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think the buried down deep and out of your reach makes me feel like it is a little bit more of a sinister secret.
No, I feel like I get the energy that it's like the parents bury their own problems and emotions and things that are going down so that their kids can't see it or reach it. Like, I don't know. So I think I have heard people talking about this maybe in a relation to like a divorce or something.
Yeah, like, that's kind of thing what I took it as initially.
Protecting the kid like from a secret. And maybe that's their parents. Like the problem is buried down deep, out of your reach. Like you don't have to worry about the problems. That's not for you to reach. We all vowed to keep it from you in sweetness. So now it's not for you, it's from you. And that's
true.
A really beautiful change in one word, but it actually changes the whole meaning of that lyric. Yeah.
I think though that it does kind of still have this energy of like, we're keeping it from you because we feel like that's the right thing to do. It's not maliciously. It's not it's a parent acting in what they believe to be the child's best interest.
Totally.
We're keeping it from you in sweetness.
To keep it from you and from
I actually really wish that Aaron had spoken about this song a little bit more, because it does feel like it's connected to him and his child. And obviously this is a song that's like co-written and produced. Well, it actually is. It definitely is co-written by Aaron, isn't it?
Yeah.
You got the dragonflies above your bed. You have a favorite spot on the swing set. You have no room in your dreams for regrets. No idea the time will arrive. curiosity and sweetness.
She really picks it up in the bridge.
She
more
does.
lyrics, a bit more fast paced.
It's actually really nice that we pick it
Yeah,
up in the bridge. I think
agree.
that this song kind of needed to go a little bit somewhere else.
You know, this song is hard because it's not like one lyric that's like, oh, that's a super fucked up lyric. I think for the in sweetness is the thing that fucks me up the most.
Yeah.
But just the overall concept of the song, I think, hits quite hard, but each individual lyric doesn't for me. Like, if that makes sense. Like, but the
Yeah.
whole thing is a really sweet concept.
Yes.
In its full.
Yeah.
In its full.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Because the first lyrics of this bridge just feel like imagery around what it's like being a child.
Yeah,
You know? You got
yeah.
the dragonflies above your bed. You have a favorite spot on the swing set. You have no room in your dreams for regret. That's very similar to Never Grow Up.
It is.
Yeah.
She literally has a lyric so similar.
Yeah.
To you, everything's funny. You got nothing to regret.
Yeah.
You know, and that is really just such a quintessential part of childhood. You don't even understand the concept. You don't
Yeah.
even understand that there are those like...
Why would you regret something?
Well, it's just,
Yeah.
it's such a complex emotion because you don't understand that you can be hurting people.
Yeah.
You don't understand that hurt can lead to you feeling remorseful for doing such a thing in the first place. And you haven't lived long enough to do that, and nothing in your life is serious enough
Yeah.
to require the feeling of regret.
So true.
And living without regret is a deeply innocent thing to do. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that a lot of adults are just sort of like, you know, I don't want to live my life with regret. But I think even in minor ways, like, you know, when you maybe hurt a friend unintentionally or whatever, like you still regret these sorts of moments.
Or even when you're not hurting someone, but you maybe make a mistake in your own life, you know,
That
like
too, yeah.
taking an opportunity. I mean, all of those things can't be fathomed without time, maturity,
Yes.
and even understanding the concept of time running out and aging. Like, it's
Yes.
just, yeah, it's so interesting.
Absolutely,
There's
so
no
true.
room in your dreams for regret. Because all you do is just live in this world where
Yeah.
it feels like everything is kind of possible and doable,
Yeah.
and there's dreams.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of in a fairy tale.
Yeah, it's interesting because you could take dreams as being like dreaming when you're asleep, or dreaming like, you know, having those hopes and dreams for the
in
future,
real
things
life.
that like, you know, I'm gonna grow up and be an astronaut or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Like, either way, those dreams do not have space for regret.
Yeah.
It feels like if you're just dreaming about what you want for the future, that's just going to be achievable for you. There's not going to be things that get in the way that maybe stop you or drag you down emotionally or whatever it is. But also, like, your dreams when you're sleeping are just full of all of these like incredible
Lovely.
imaginative ideas. You're not like dwelling on the things that make you feel sad.
Yeah.
The time will arrive for the cruel and the mean. You'll learn to bounce back just like your trampoline.
That is a really cute lyric.
It is,
I love
it is.
that a
And
lot.
Mika did bring that one up specifically.
Yeah.
And it's so true. It feels like such a direct tie back into Taylor and what she's experienced. But it's also something that we can all relate to, you know, like there is always going to be times in your life as you grow up that you're going to have to bounce back from something that's really, really hard to go through. And to compare that to something that you play on as a child is so nice. It's like, it's almost like trying to teach this child
Yeah.
that, you know, in a manner that they understand that there are going to
This is
be
what-
bigger things that you don't get yet that you'll bounce back from.
Yeah.
But now we'll curtail your curiosity in sweetness. What does curtail mean?
Yeah.
Reduce in extent or quantity, impose a restriction on. So we'll stop your curiosity. That's interesting because I actually sort of would have thought that like that could have even been taken in a negative way. Like, we're going to
Well-
stop your curiosity, but
Which is probably why she still follows it with in sweetness. Like, there will be boundaries to what you can know about the world. There's boundaries to what you can do in this world.
or even if as a child they're growing up and they're starting to ask questions that, you know, require difficult conversations from a
exactly.
parent, it's like we'll try and stop that from happening as long as we possibly can.
Yeah. In
To
sweetness.
keep it innocent and lovely for you.
No, it is a really interesting song. It actually makes a lot of sense that Taylor is observing that and kind of, I guess, writing about it because she's, you know, seeing that dynamic play out in a few of her friendships.
Yeah.
But I often think about this when I'm watching my friends parent, what they choose to say, what they choose
Yeah.
to not say, how
Yeah,
much
so
they tell
true.
them about something. And it really feels here like Taylor is viewing this relationship and writing a song from that perspective, the observation of what they keep and why they keep it from them, and how this certain person is creating that safe environment for this child and why they might choose to do so in that way.
Yeah.
Way to go, tiger.
such Aaron production, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, the way that she sings that last chorus is a little bit different, which is beautiful. It kind of adds an emphasis.
Ad-libs of repeating some of those lyrics throughout it, which is just a nice little way to tie it up.
Yeah.
Okay, well, look, I think that we definitely fathomed some things there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miki, for your help.
Yes.
And, you know, I think that I do really like this song. I do think I see it more about Taylor kind of looking at a child and a parent relationship and kind of fathoming that rather than about her own inner child. But I still think you can connect that back to yourself and how that felt at the time, or even to just try to remember that you weren't always this person that might feel, I guess, the weight of the world on them, and to tap into that inner child sometimes to get relief of that.
Totally. I mean, I guess in that way, there is an element of it that is still about her, because the reason it exists on this album is because she's able to see that she doesn't feel like that anymore, even though she is sort of talking to another child and about another child outside of herself and her younger self, which I think is really nice. And I actually do think that that's been my biggest takeaway from this fathoming of this song is that it does fit on this album for that reason. That the pain that she's experienced here is what makes her yearn for that childlike innocence that she can see in her friends' children, and again also in maybe the childhood version of herself, which I think is really beautiful. It makes sense kind of coming at the end of this album. Yeah.
And it's interesting that the last time she kind of did that was maybe Speak Now, where she was experiencing a lot of heartbreak for the first time on that album.
Yes.
A lot of pain for the first time, a lot of criticism for the first time.
Well, and I think as well with the fact that she specifically brings up in a song like Never Grow Up, the fact that she's just moved into her own apartment and she's going to be living alone, like that's a scary thing for a young adult and so different from childhood. It's like those big milestones in life are those things that really make you realize, like, shit, I'm not a kid anymore. My parents aren't just going to be there for me all the time, and things are going to get hard. I love that this is a concept that she keeps revisiting throughout her life. I think it's really beautiful, and I think it keeps her grounded. She doesn't get too disconnected from what that is.
So true.
Which is really nice.
Even if she's not like having kids herself, she's still really connected to that experience of the younger people.
Aunt Taylor, she's an icon.
Aunt Taylor, she is an icon. Okay, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let us know your thoughts down below about how you feel about Robin.
Please.
And we'll see you soon for another breakdown.
Yeah, love you guys. Bye.